Hi again. In the previous videos, we talked about the four measures that we use to monitor the project. These are the schedule performance index, the cost performance index, cost variance, and the schedule variance. And we could use these values. Once we do the calculation, we could use these values to find out the project, whether it's on budget or behind budget, behind the schedule, over budget, and ahead of schedule. So something like this. We look into the values and we could decide how we are performing in the project. Now, for this video, we're going to talk about forecasting techniques, which actually it's more important to be able to take an action and solve the problems that you have. So what you need to do, okay, we understand that we did the calculation for the CPI, for example, or the SPI, and we found that the project is over budget. What we should do next? Think about it. We found a project that we're behind the schedule. So what we should do? Okay, these techniques, the forecasting techniques, will help you to make some decisions regarding these cases, whether you are behind schedule or you are over budget, and we will work on these techniques to be able to make a decision based on data, of course. So as the project progress, the actual cost spending might deviate from the planned budget. Tracking and analyzing the status of a project is important. Is an important task for a project manager to perform monthly or bi-monthly. Tracking can be done by the following steps. Number one, what we have to do, we have to obtain the physical completion percentage for each task. We look into each task and see how far we are in that, in finishing, how long it will take us to finish that. And you come up with the percentage, and then calculate the earned value. Based on these percentage, you can calculate the earned value for each task. And then finding the earned value for the project by adding all these earned value for all tasks. So now we're dealing with adding if you remember the work breakdown structure, this is what we need to do. We need to find the earned value for each work breakdown structure and then bring them together, add them together to find out what would be the earned value for the whole project. And then number four, calculating the actual spending. We need to look into the actual spending for the actual work completed during that period, and then compare the cumulative earned value with the actual spending. So you compare the EV to the actual spending, the AC, and then you need to make a decision to correct the track of the project. And this is what we have to do here. The first technique that we need to talk about it's called the EAC, or estimate at completion. Estimate at completion is a forecasting technique used to predict the budget needed for a project to be completed while progressing. So again, the EAC, the project is not finished yet, and we're trying to find the budget that we need to complete it. We have two cases here. One case is to do the bottom up, and this is the most common case in a project management. In this situation, what a project manager will do, we'll find out the cost estimated was incorrect. So you are working on a project and you found out the cost that you estimated was wrong. So what you have to do, you have to find out a new cost. You should be estimating a new cost for the new work. So what you have to do, you have to do an EAC using this equation, the actual cost, which is the initial budget, plus the estimate to complete. That estimate, how much do you need to finish that project? That would be the estimate at completion. Again, case one, where you have, this is the most common, you've been working on a project, but however, you found that your estimation for a project is inaccurate. So you have to come up with a new estimate for your project. And therefore you could use the actual cost plus the estimate to completion to find out what would be the estimate at completion. Case two, which is a one-time incident, if the project encountered a one-time variance. So now if there's unexpected event happen only once, one thing. In this case, the EAC, the estimate at completion would be equal the actual cost plus the budget at completion, the BAC, minus the earned value. Actual cost plus the budget at completion minus the earned value. Don't worry, we will take example to clarify all of this. Now we're going just to over these concept and equations, and then later on you will find an example that will help you to understand these concepts. All right, now for case number 3, if the project encountered a variance that is expected to reoccur and continue to affect the project. So for example, you've been working on a project that you can't find workers, and workers, the labor costs will increase because they're not available. And this is happening again and again. So in this case, we have to do the EAC, the estimate at completion, by using the budget of the project or budget at completion divided by the cost performance index. And this way you can come up with a new budget for your project. And number 4, the project is over budget and behind the schedule. So here is the case 4 where you have a project with over budget and behind schedule, and the project should complete it on time. So there's no chance, you have to complete it no matter what, you have to complete it on time. So what you have to do, you have to use this estimate at completion, which is the money spent to date, which is the actual spending, the actual cost, plus the budget cost for the remaining cost, the BAC, the budgeted cost for the remaining cost, minus the earned value, all of this divided by the cost performance index, the CPI time the scheduled performance index. The equation 10 will summarize this. And the EAC, in this case, once you are over budget behind schedule, but you have to finish it on time, what you have to do, you have to come up with a new budget based on this equation, actual cost, AAC plus the BAC minus the earned value divided by the CPI times the SPI. In this case, you will come up with a new budget. Now we're moving into estimate technique number 2, which is estimate to complete. Estimate to complete. Estimate to complete is a forecast of how much more money is needed to be spent to complete the project, or could be the answer for this question: how much more the team will spend from this point forward. ETC can be determined by building a bottom-up estimate by consulting with activity owner or vendor to revise estimate and come up with a new estimates. In this case, the ETC is represented with the following equation. The ETC would be equal to the new estimate. Again, just you go talk to the people, the owner of that process, and ask them how much they need to finish that activity, and that would be the estimate to complete. Or you could deduct the actual cost from the estimate at completion, and this is summarized by equation number 12, EAC minus the actual cost. All right, now it's time to apply all what we've learned so far with these 2 forecasting techniques with this example. We have assume that you manage a 5-year project with a budget, original budget of $150,000. You track the project performance on month 3 of the project. So now you worked on the project. 3 months later, you did measure the performance of your project, and you find that your contractor finished 45% of the work. CPI is 0.67. So you are running over budget. Basically, this is what the CPI cost performance index, it's less than 1. So that means that you are over budget. Actual cost is $90,000. It is also found an unexpected issue in the project, and it has to be corrected before proceeding with the project. This issue is considered to be a one-time variance. So it's just only happened once and that's it. What we need to find out, we have to calculate the EAC and the ETC, estimate at completion, and the estimate to complete, the estimate to complete, the ETC. All right, let's start with the answer here. First thing we need to do, find out the earned value, which is percentage of completion, 45 times the planned budget, 45 times 150. That will give you 67,500. And then EAC, would be the estimate at completion would be the actual cost plus the BAC, because this is only one time incident. AC, the actual cost, plus the BAC, the budget, minus the earned value. So 90,000 plus the 150 minus the earned value 67. So $172,500. This is how much the team will spend at the end of the project. Again, that's then let's call it the new budget. This is, yes, the budget is 150. However, once we calculated based on the percentage and the actual cost, we found out that the team will spend 172,500 at the end of the project, by the end of the project. The estimate to completion would be the EAC that we calculated here minus the actual spending or the actual cost. So 172,500 minus the 90,000, that will give you 82,500. This is how much more the team will spend from this point forward. However, if you learn that workers that are being used are actually more expensive than you originally estimated, this would be a typical variance, and it's going to continue to affect your project. So in this case, the EAC, now here's the ongoing variance that we have to change the EAC and the ETC based on a multi factors and continuous impact or continuous changes for the project. The EAC would be the BAC, the budget divided by the CPI, 150 divided by 67%. That would be equal to $223,880. That would be how much the team will spend by the end of the project. The ETC is equal to the EAC, what we calculated here minus the actual cost. So 223K minus the 90,000, that would be equal 133,880. What would be needed to spend from now on the project. All right, I hope this is helpful and you were able to understand these two techniques. Now we're moving into the third forecasting and third and last forecasting technique, which is to complete performance index. But I think that's going to be in a different video, and we will take a few examples to explain this concept. I'll see you in another video.